Hi, I'm Jim Shore. Usually when we're together I talk about my artwork and that sort of thing, but today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. Here we are in my one of the rooms in my studio, and I've got a little project here that I do frequently, and that is I try to repurpose some of the things that I find that have been discarded that would otherwise be thrown away and be gone forever. And in this case, I've done that with chairs and rocking chairs and all sorts of things that I find on the side of the road. I pick them up, much to the embarrassment of my children, I might add, and I throw them in the back of the truck, and I bring them back and try to bring them back to life. This table here is one of the projects that I did that started out as just an absolute piece of scrap. You can see it, I've got my stuff on top of it, but that is a great table, and that would have been lost, forever. Now this is another one. This is a table that I found in Rock Hill by the side of the road. People had thrown it away, and it's actually a very, very heavy and well-built table. As you can see, great condition, solid mahogany, but they threw it away because several of the legs, it's very heavy, and I think the weight of the table was probably too heavy ultimately for the leg style that they had. So anyway, I picked up all the pieces and threw it in the back of the truck. Now what's unique about this particular table is it's got a leaf here that when you pull it apart, it hinges and hides itself in. So this was when it was made a top-of-the-line table. And I'll show you what I've done. Okay, this was the style of legs that were on it. And as I said, I think they were too lightweight. Now this is a laminated piece. There's two pieces that go together to make this. That weakened it because the dowels and so forth were right in the joint. But you see, you have grain that goes across like this. But you put a lot of weight on that, that grain can separate and split. So not particularly good leg for this high-end table. So what I did is I made some legs to duplicate, or to take the place of them, and this design is a little bit more structural. There's a lamination of 3 poplar boards that I cut out with this contour, and the contour is such that I got 2 pieces out of each cut, because that's one cut this way, it was another cut, so or the same cut, so one leg here, one leg there. So it minimized the amount of wood that I had to use, and then I laminated them together under pressure and glue, and relieved the edges with a router so that it gives you that sort of fluted look when it comes back together. I drilled and counterbored a hole here in anticipation of how I'm going to mount it, and then I added a bracket here that I opened up so that the piece will fit right back where the other leg goes, just like that, if you can see. Now you might see that this is very clean white wood on the end here. Well, this column is also solid mahogany. The end grain does not offer very much strength. So I cut this disc out of here, out of Baltic plywood, which is hardwood plywood, very, very hard. It's a 1/2-inch piece. I stained it and glued it and screwed it back onto the end here so that I would have something very substantial to screw my bracket into. This drilled hole and counter bore is I'm going to use these utility screws that are heavy-duty utility screws, as you can see. They have a star connection, not a Phillips head, but that's good. And they'll go right in there, and that was a clearance hole that I cut, so it'll go just like so. Screw will go in there. I positioned the screw since the since the stress is going to be on the table leg in this direction, I made the screw come out fairly low because that's where most of your pressure is, and that's where the strength needs to be. I'll put a little bit of construction adhesive. I like this brand. It's Liquid Nails. You can get it anywhere, and everybody's familiar with it. And it's not very expensive, and it holds like crazy once it cures. So, and also the nice thing about it is it comes out like almost like a putty or something. So it's got the capability of filling in any gaps, unlike regular glue, like a tight bond glue like this, which is the best glue. I love this glue, but it only does surface to surface. If you have voids to fill, use something like that stuff there, and it comes out. We use like a caulking gun, and you can put a nice bead on there, and it'll fill in all the gaps and turns as hard as a Dickinson and keep this thing on forever. So the next step in the process is to put on the glue, position this thing like this. I'll hold it with one screw while I position the big screw here, and that's what I'll mount it. And when I get finished, I'll show you. It'll take me a little while to do that, but I'll show you what the finished product looks like, and you'll be amazed that a piece of basically refuse that some unimaginative person has thrown away was picked up by me or by imaginative people like you, and it will come back to life, and we'll use it here in the studio as adjunct to our conference tables or something like that. We'll make use of it. It'll be put to good use, and it'll be something that friends and family can have for an awfully long time. Breathes new life into something that's otherwise a throwaway. I urge you to look around. Now, let's walk right over here, and I'll show you another piece. This is another piece that was thrown away. It was thrown away by the roadside, and I picked it up. It's an old headboard, beautifully carved, and you could do so many things with something like this. I could put a bench down here or a trunk or something like this up against the wall and make it into like a day bed or something. There's a whole lot of things you can do with that. And so that's a project yet to come. But you'll see. If you look around, you'll find this kind of stuff periodically by the side of the road. Pick it up, use your imagination, bring it back to life. The next time we get together, I'll show you some of the other pieces that I brought to life, just like this one here is in the process. And you'll be amazed at junk can easily be transformed into treasure with a little bit of imagination, a little bit of hard work, and just a little tiny bit of skill. So I hope you keep that in mind. I hope you bring back these wonderful old things just like I do. It's a lot of fun. At least it is for me. I'm sure it will be for you once you see the finished product. And it's a good way of everybody's interested in recycling and repurposing and all that kind of thing. Well, there's nothing better than a project like this to do that. So keep your eyes open, and you can do this very same thing too. And I'd like to know some of the projects that you may have done the same thing to. So give me a buzz, and let me know how you're doing on your projects. Until then, be good, be safe. I love you all. Talk to you later.